course, the big story everybody's been paying attention to for about the last, 18 hours or so, roughly give or take, is the terror attack that has occurred in Istanbul, Turkey, where the count right now is 41 dead, 239 injured. Many of those not injured seriously. Many of them already released from hospital. That is good. 3 suicide bombers, according to Turkish officials, at Ataturk Airport, which has amazingly, it's amazingly to me at least, reopened and is now operating at about 33% capacity. So, where do we go from here? And what does this mean? There's been no one taking responsibility yet, but, 2 years to the date from the declaration of the caliphate by ISIS, it wouldn't take, I guess, a rocket scientist to figure this one out. Let's visit this morning with Dr. Alex Del Carmen, who's a terrorism security expert, Tarleton State, and we'll discuss this. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Appreciate you being here. What's your immediate take on what has occurred in Istanbul and, all the hallmarks of this particular attack?
Well, I think that, it's in most of our minds, at least, there's very little doubt that this is ISIS in terms of the way they penetrated the airport, how they approached it, their targets.
Right.
So it's a matter of time, I believe, before they actually announce that they're responsible for the attack.
Is there any doubt in your mind that that's who this is, or if they're not directly connected, that they are followers, lone wolf, but followers of ISIS?
Right. So when we say ISIS, we obviously mean that it's either someone that works directly for ISIS or individual that was inspired by ISIS to attack the same way. I believe that there is very little doubt in most of our minds that this is an ISIS-related attack.
Dr. Del Carmen, with ISIS seemingly in places on the run, whether it's in Syria, certainly in Iraq with the fall of their stronghold in Fallujah, southwest of Baghdad, that, we could see more of these as this becomes, I guess, one of their outlets still to recruit, to get world attention, as their so-called Islamic State seems to contract in its ability to reach out.
There's no question, and I believe that we're actually in more dangerous waters now than we've ever been,
Really?
Because of the very reason that you said. They have no land, for the most part, to claim, and these are now individuals that are inspired all throughout the world to attack Western targets following their ideology.
What about here in the United States? We saw the attacks in Orlando, and there were some different, moving levers with that, but clearly you'd be hard-pressed to say that creating terror on a variety of levels wasn't one of the goals of the person, the stated goals of the person who was behind that. Do you expect more of those here in the homeland?
Right. So even the FBI director has actually said that, he does have knowledge of all 50 states having individuals that are following or seeking ISIS-related ideologies. So when you have that level of threat, the level of participation in a country as vast as our country, with all the freedoms that we enjoy, there should be no doubt in our minds that the United States is not less vulnerable than any of the targets that we've seen in the Middle East and in Europe.
Well, you head up a major university school of criminology, criminal justice, strategic studies. You follow all this closely. So there's the clinical part, but just the psychology part of being Americans and facing this. What do you tell the average person? Do you just go on? Everything happens, and you just go on with your life, or should you be concerned? Is it concern the right word? Vigilant the right word? Fearful the right word? What would you pick?
So, I wouldn't say any of those. I would just simply say we have to live our lives as Americans. Part of what they're trying to do is basically undermine our freedoms and impose fear in our lives on a daily basis. They want us to quit going to the soccer games. They want us to quit going to the concerts. They want us to quit flying. So clearly, part of what they're trying to do, or I would say to a large extent, is to penetrate the American psyche so that we quit having the freedoms and enjoy the life that we do. I tell my friends, I tell my family to continue living our lives the way we do, but obviously to increase our level of situational awareness, to make sure that we understand where we are. If you see a package that's been abandoned in a corner street, call 911 or make someone alert, make them aware. At the same time, we can't live our lives in fear. Just like the president back in 9/11 or soon thereafter said, oh, good Americans need to start flying again. I believe that we have an obligation to our country to continue living our lives the way we do.
Getting inside the American psyche, is that the ultimate attack? Is that the ultimate attack as opposed to, the physical explosion? It's getting inside that American mindset and hopefully disrupting it forever?
Well, I mean, I think terrorists realize that our country is incredibly powerful and it's also incredibly vast. And so as a result of that, they're not going to ever be able to take over the entire country, per se, or bomb every city in the U.S. So I think that their objective is to hit major targets, to cause damage as much as they can with the limited ammunition that they may have access to. And as a result of that, to be able to penetrate fear in the American public or in the public in general, that in fact that they are powerful and they're watching us and we're vulnerable. So yeah, I think that at the end of the day, it's all about the American side.
And Turkey, not truly a part of Europe, not truly accepted as being a full-fledged partner of the Middle Eastern world, kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, aren't they?
That's correct.
Yeah. Dr. Alex Del Carmen is terrorism analyst. He heads up the School of Criminology, Criminal Justice and Strategic Studies, Tarleton State University in Fort Worth. Dr. Del Carmen, thanks for being here very much.
Thank you.